सेव किया था ना?
मैं सिर्फ इसलिए गया था क्योंकि उसने मुझे कॉल किया, that's it. But listen though.
Save it for someone else.
जिंदगी में सेव करना जरूरी है, मगर जब बात पैसों की हो, सिर्फ सेविंग से काम नहीं चलेगा। इक्विटी म्यूचुअल फंड्स में इन्वेस्ट कीजिए और अपने सेविंग्स को आगे बढ़ने का मौका दीजिए।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
Hello and welcome back to World 360. What did Russia do to tick off yet another ally in Central Asia? Is Qatar bribing EU officials? And why has Croatia's admittance into the Schengen passport-free zone upset Romania? These are the three questions we'll be answering in today's episode. First up, Russia. If you recall, in an episode 2 months ago, we spoke about how the leader of Tajikistan publicly criticized Vladimir Putin at a summit. This was surprising as Tajikistan is a key ally of Russia in Central Asia and a neighboring country. Speaking at a public forum, Tajik President Rahmon had said that his country had always respected the interests of its main strategic partner, Russia, but that it wanted respect too. Now, it seems yet another ally of Russia's in Central Asia has been ticked off by Moscow. This time around, it's Kazakhstan, which many of you probably recall was the home of the fictional character Borat. On 2nd December, Russian ambassador to Kazakhstan, Alexei Borodavkin, was interviewed by Russian media outlet Sputnik, where he talked about the rise of nationalist tendencies in Kazakhstan and an increase in Russophobia. He went as far as to say that if Kazakhstan needed to suppress such extremists, Russia could offer a helping hand. Now, these remarks have created furor in Kazakhstan, with various politicians and journalists issuing strongly worded statements against the ambassador. For example, Kazakh journalist Arman Shurev called the ambassador an idiot and said that Russia is not capable of carrying out such operations given the beating it has been taking from Ukrainian forces over the past 9 months. Meanwhile, Erlin Koshinov, Speaker of the lower house of Kazakhstan's parliament, also reacted strongly. He said that as a career diplomat, Borodavkin's remarks in his interview don't match his status. Koshinov's surprise at the way the ambassador conducted himself may not be exactly unfounded. In fact, Borodavkin isn't young or a new diplomat by any means. A look at his career reveals that he served as Russia's Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Russia's permanent representative to the UN. He was also previously the Russian ambassador to Slovakia, and he began his career as far back as 1975 during the Soviet Union days. Now, the recent incident, however, appears to be part of a pattern of tensions between Kazakhstan and Russia that has been brewing over the past few months. In October, Kazakh authorities rejected a demand by Russia's foreign ministry to expel Ukraine's ambassador to Kazakhstan, Petro Vrublevsky. The Kazakh foreign ministry spokesperson had criticized not just Russia's request to expel the Ukrainian ambassador, but the tone in which the request was made. During this incident, Borodavkin was also summoned by Kazakhstan's foreign ministry. This is interesting also because Kazakhstan, which does share close economic ties with Russia, has not officially condemned Putin's war in Ukraine, nor has it explicitly supported Ukraine. For our second order of business today, we're looking at a major corruption scandal that has hit the European Union. 4 EU officials are currently being investigated for allegedly receiving bribes in the form of money and gifts from the Gulf country of Qatar. Reports say European Parliament Vice President Eva Kaili is among the 4 under a probe. Now, this is a big deal because, as Germany's foreign minister put it, the scandal brings into question the credibility of Europe. The investigation and widespread house searches have so far led to the seizure of $630,000. The charges being levied are to do with money laundering and corruption, which, if proven true, could land some of these officials currently being investigated in jail. Now, European Parliament Vice President Eva Kaili, reportedly one of the named persons in the case, has been suspended from her duties for the time being of the investigation. But her own party in Greece appears to have taken a more dramatic step by deciding to expel her from the party. If we look at Eva Kaili's comments in the European Parliament just 2 weeks ago, she appeared to have been praising Qatar.
So today the World Cup in Qatar is a proof actually of how sports diplomacy can achieve a historical transformation of a country with reforms that inspired the Arab world. ILO said that Qatar is a front runner in labor rights, abolishing kafala and reducing minimum wage wage, despite the challenges that even European companies are denying to enforce these laws. They committed to a vision by choice and they opened to the world. Still, some here are calling to discriminate them. They bully them and they accuse everyone that talks to them or engages of corruption.
Now, this scandal comes at a time when Qatar is hosting the FIFA World Cup and has already been receiving a lot of negative press with accusations that its World Cup bid was steeped in corruption and that it is using the tournament to sports wash its record of human rights abuses. An unnamed Qatari official in a report by Sky News, meanwhile, has denied accusations of trying to influence the policy making of the European Parliament. For our last topic of the day, we're looking towards Croatia, a beautiful coastal country in Europe where the hit TV show Game of Thrones was shot. On Monday, Croatia was allowed to join the EU's passport-free Schengen area. While there was jubilation in Croatia, another country was left upset. I'm talking about Romania, which had actually joined the EU 6 years before Croatia and has been long demanding access to the Schengen zone, where border checks have effectively been abolished for a majority of EU member states. Now, Romania is upset with one EU member state in particular, Austria. This is because Austria was the only country out of all other EU member states to oppose Romania's bid to join the Schengen zone, and admission to the Schengen zone requires unanimity among all EU members. So in a way, Austria single-handedly blocked Romania's bid. The controversy has irked Romania so much that it has recalled its own ambassador to Austria, meaning bilateral relations between the two countries could definitely see a downturn. Now, what was Austria's reasoning for blocking Romania's bid into the Schengen area? To put it briefly, it had fears about an influx of migrants and asylum seekers from Romania. But Romanian Prime Minister Nicolae Ciucă has shot back, arguing that this is an unjustified statement. In fact, data from EU border agency Frontex shows that illegal migrants were mainly entering the EU from the Western Balkans, not from Romania. That said, Romania has taken in a lot of refugees from Ukraine ever since the Russian invasion began in February this year. What's also interesting is that Austria's President Alexander Van der Bellen criticized his own country's decision to block Romania's bid to join the Schengen area. It is true that Austria is in a difficult situation due to the very high number of asylum seekers, but the Schengen blockade does not contribute to a solution, he said in a long thread on Twitter. In Romania, meanwhile, a strong anti-Austrian sentiment appears to be growing. In fact, the country's interior minister sent an open letter to his Austrian counterpart expressing his deep outrage. I am writing to you to express my deep indignation at your vote after you assured me on November 23 in Vienna in the presence of our colleagues that you are a friend of Romania and your position is not against Romania but against a dysfunctional system which should not be extended to any country, the Romanian interior minister had said. Thanks for watching. This is Pia Krishnankutty for The Print. Do subscribe to The Printer and follow us on social media, and also keep writing in with your suggestions.